Before we get into today's episode, here's a look at a show we think you might like.
What is your name and current position within the company?
My name is Isidora Tripolia. Torpor.
Doug Vespa, somewhere between acting director and director, if I understand correctly.
My name is Kai Lee, one of the scientists in Grant.
Just to be clear, when a gun is pointed at you, you usually aren't the one asking questions.
All right, tell me why I shouldn't kill you right now.
Dozing at his side is an aged golden retriever.
It's a good dog.
He takes a heart out of a cold box and squeezes it dry. Who's got a playlist? I got Ox.
The anomaly kills a member of the team.
I just want to make sure that I don't have to worry about you. Do I have to worry about you?
Thank you. And I pull out my magnum and I shoot her in the throat.
Pest Control presents Scionwood, a brand new, fully scored horror campaign of Monster of the Week. Find us wherever the forest is whispering.
Shadows in the Smoke is intended for mature audiences and may contain material that some people find disturbing. Please see the episode description for content warnings and listen with care. Let's return to the tarot card reading of Miss Lydia Wainwright. T. The next two cards drawn are the Five of Swords, typically associated with violence, and the Fool, which represents the beginning of a journey. Continue the fortune teller's reading.
The Five of Swords. 3 collected, 2 on the ground remaining to be retrieved. The 2 could be yours, forfeited by your choice, or the 3 collected, a gain. But either way, I'm afraid the choice you make will bring violence. But such violence is necessary, for from that ending shall come beginning. The Fool steps on the edge of a cliff, ready to plummet, or ready to fly, but the choice must be made.
I'd like to return to Kew Gardens, or something resembling Kew Gardens, for the plants and flowers here seem to have a sentience that catches you by surprise. You feel vines trying to reach out and grab you and pull you back towards the Sisters Sandula as you are making your way through this transformed place.
Even the fucking floor is against me. I would like to strip out of my clothing as it is being grabbed by these vines and just let them have the garments, like Sycorax's tree, and continue pelting on through the forest unencumbered.
I love that. I'm just going to let you do that. I think that's cool as hell.
Great. Mr. John begins loping through the forest, now forsaking his eyes, which are only playing tricks on him and leading him on and off paths as they see fit, and trusting into his more bestial senses, his ears, his nose, and the hairs on the back of his neck.
All right, this feels like another night move to me, but this time with sensitivity, I think, as you are relying on this other side of you. What are you afraid will happen if you fail here?
I'm afraid that the quickening will not have been vested for the evening, just momentarily bedded down, and I will transform. And as they say, the hunt will have begun already, and I will run straight into their mistress's wood.
Mr. John, it's worse than that. By relying upon your cursed state in your hour of need, you will surrender all parts of yourself that are one-shot John as this bestial, cursed form takes over your body and your mind for good.
Well, let's not let that happen then.
This is a night move with sensitivity. I don't think Drained is at play here, but I do think that Most Beloved is.
Yeah, they really want me.
Yeah, they really do.
4 and 3 is 7.
Let's return to our trio of hunters.
Once everyone has gotten back into the carriage, Ina is sitting next to Rabbit's still form with a hand holding him in place so he doesn't roll and fall onto the floor of the carriage. And Ina has directed the carriage to go to Kilburn Abbey.
Maisie is similarly holding on to this dead girl and is having that feeling of like riding in a carriage where it's just like the jiggling of the carriage and the exhaustion is sort of just like weighing on her. She's just like trying so hard to keep herself awake.
The three of you arrive at Kilburn Abbey. This space is lit from within by what can only be hundreds of candles. And you hear bells ringing and discordant organ music mixed with the sounds of chanting, but not in a language that you recognize.
What do we do? Where do we go? Do we wake Rabbit? Do we leave him unconscious? I don't know what to do.
We're going to have to take him with us, and it would definitely be easier if he was on his feet. Ina slaps him across the face a couple of times to see if she can rouse him from whatever slumber he's currently in.
Rabbit groans and sort of shifts. He wakes up, but his eyes don't seem to be focusing on either of them or anything within the carriage. They just seem to be dancing wildly about as soon as they are open.
Ina notices the movement of his eyes and looks at them to check them as she was instructed to see if they are still rabbits.
And as soon as Ina gets close to Rabbit, he closes his eyes tightly. Too bright, no. Too bright, can't look at you.
I've heard that before, dear. It's nighttime. And Ina grabs him by the arm, pushes him out of the carriage in front of her, and starts to bodily walk him towards the doors of the Abbey.
Maisie scoops the girl, straining much more than she did previously, and follows Ina.
Allowing himself to be led by Ina, Rabbit shuffles along, his eyes tightly pinched, but even so, his head still turning away from her as though he cannot stand even the chance that he might see her.
All right, where do you want to have this binding ritual?
This girl needs to go back into the exact wall she was found in, and I believe that was a room somewhere in like the basement or bowels of the Abbey.
Yes, it was in the wine cellar.
That is where she needs to go.
Can we find a way in that isn't like the main entrance to the church?
You are hearing the strains of what the man in the sun mask had described as a black mass happening as you are entering Kilburn Abbey. As a GM and as a storyteller, the story I am much more interested in hearing about is the exorcism of Rabbit. So, for the sake of getting to that story, I would love to take us to the wine cellar and get this going. The monks might play a role depending on if there are any complications or risks associated with this, but I'm much more interested to just kind of see this scene play out.
As Ina and Maisie and Rabbit get closer to the Abbey, this chant that we hear gets louder, and Ina stops. She looks at Rabbit and then glances at Maisie. I think it might be wiser if we found ourselves a side entrance, don't you think?
I know I told them we'd see them later, but I really would rather not.
I don't think we should interrupt them. And as Ina is glancing around, she sees the garden that we saw all of those animal bones in and starts to lead the way, still holding on to Rabbit's arm, through this garden and into a side door where she finds a set of stairs that spirals down into the wine cellar.
As you are descending the stairs, you are feeling this persistent cold draft that is emanating from this space. The stairs and the walls are slick, and there is the smell of mildew in the air from persistent water damage. And there is, of course, this gaping hole in the wall of the wine cellar where the girl's body was first found. I have a paint the scene for you all as you are moving into the wine cellar. As you are inspecting the hole in the wall that was once the tomb or the dead girl, what do you see that tells you that the girl was buried alive?
There are tiny fingernail gouges in the brick, stained with the remnants of dried blood.
As Maisie approaches and lays down the girl by this hole, the very slight echo of screams and cries for help that might be there and might not reverberate from the stones.
Now that the hole in the wall is open, as the body of the girl has been removed, at the base of it, we see little trinkets and toys and things that she was buried with to entertain her while she was entombed in this wall.
And as Rabbit is no longer able to control his second sight, he actually sees the echo of the girl herself still sitting in the wall, even though her body has been long since removed.
Ina walks into this wine cellar, still holding Rabbit, and sets him down, crisscross applesauce, in front of the hole where this girl's body was entombed. She walks over to a shelf full of already filled wine bottles, pulls one off, snaps the neck off of it, goes back to Rabbit and starts to draw a circle around Rabbit near where this body is going to go back into. She walks over to the body of the girl that Maisie had set on the ground and gently picks the body up and sits it upright across from Rabbit. And she kneels down and takes both of their hands, puts them together, pulls another cord from her waist, and binds their hands together.
Maisie obviously has no idea what's going on, but knows that in this moment, being the most prepared that she can be is to go into her curse of the deep state, so she goes back into that vigilant, intense, like eyes roll over black, not really happy version of herself, and just turns to Ina and goes, "What can I do?"
Stand watch at the door and make sure that no one interrupts the Katadesmos.
Understood. She moves to the door and stands there, and you can see all of the humidity in this wine cellar fizzles around Maisie in this doorway.
That is the first thing that has woken Rabbit from his actively not trying to look at Miss Thanero, and he stares at Maisie with the steaming stones surrounding her, and whatever he's seeing puts him in just this sense of just awe for a moment.
Now that his eyes are open, once again tries to look at them and see if it's Rabbit peering out or if it's this demon.
His eyes are still shifting. He's trying to avoid eye contact with her, but they are still his eyes.
Having seen for a brief moment that Rabbit is present in his eyes, Ina slowly starts to take her gloves off. She's kneeling. She sets the gloves in the dirt next to her and looks at Rabbit. Are you ready to do this?
What happened to her? And he's still looking at Maisie.
What happened to who?
Someone hurt her.
Ina sits back for just a moment. Are you talking about Maisie?
What happened to you? Someone trapped a light within a human body. You're not supposed to be here, are you?
Where I am supposed to be is no concern of yours, because you're not supposed to be here either. And with that, Ina takes her left hand with that tattoo of Aegis on it and grabs both of their hands that are bound together, and a ripple of gold erupts from her hand and from the center of this little circle that we've built.
And similarly to how it happened at the hedge maze, the veins in Rabbit's eyes become more apparent and start to creep over and weave in amongst each other until his eyes are just that same solid, deep blood red. You can try as hard as you like, but you'll still be alone in the end.
Ina takes her right hand, grabs Rabbit's face, yanks it to make eye contact. They're nose to nose at this particular moment. And she says, Sedeno, Sihi, Lyosa, Scadia, Zoi, Thanatos.
You don't understand what this boy is, do you? I don't think he understands what he is either, or else he wouldn't have let me inside of him.
Ina just continues making eye contact and says the phrase again, this time in English. I bind you, soul, tongue, plans, life, death.
I'm going to kill you, but first I'm going to kill all of your friends and everyone you've ever cared about. Then I will stake you down and watch the oceans as they rise up around you, drowning you.
For a brief moment, the gold that is encircling them flickers as if it might go out, but she squeezes his face harder in her hand and squeezes their combined hands with her left even harder, and the gold ripples back out again. And she continues, Omega, Theto, Katu Cosmo, Syncratistretin, Min Afisete, Kanenan, Alon Ektos, Apo, Emina, Natin Lesi.
Rabbit's head snaps towards Maisie. She's tricking you. She's lying to you. She doesn't really care about you.
Maisie, who was in a very sentinel stance, like paying attention to anything outside of the doorway, suddenly her head snaps and she looks at Rabbit and then she looks at Ina and she sort of has this moment of like doubt between the two of them and what to do. She takes a step forward and then she steels herself and she goes, You are not yourself. You're not yourself and you are lying.
You've seen how she is around the ocean. You know that she's not your friend.
She has shown herself to be more a friend than you would ever know.
Ina, for a moment, takes her eyes off of Rabbit and looks at Maisie. For the briefest of moments, the gold that is in her eyes radiates out toward Maisie. Are you with me, little Pearl?
I am.
And with that, Ina slaps Rabbit across the face, reaches into her hair and pulls out what looked like pins holding her hair in place, but it is lead rods. And she takes these rods, throws them into the dirt around them, grabs one, and stabs it into Rabbit's arm, where that bandage is that covers whatever is underneath it.
All right. This is going to be several rolls. The first roll to get the demon out of Rabbit. This feels like this has to be a roll from Mr. Lloyd to force it out of you with the help of Miss Thanero. This is going to be a night move for sure. The stakes are a little bit established, but I am compelled to ask you, what are you afraid will happen if you are unsuccessful?
I am afraid that this demon will be able to fully take over Rabbit and unlock powers that he is afraid to use.
Mr. Lloyd, it's worse than that. In your awakened, powerful, possessed state, you will call out to the monks above you who are in the middle of their black mass, and they will descend like a swarm upon your friends in the wine cellar. This is a sensitivity roll. I, once again, feel like it has to be at disadvantage because of a voice in your head.
That is a 9. So we go inside Rabbit's head, and it's this small, cozy, lovingly though cheaply furnished apartment somewhere in Soho. And Rabbit is sitting there on a cheap straw stuffed bed, and standing there in front of him is this demon. Not in the guise of the little girl, but in something more akin to its truer form. Something horrible, shifting, and indescribable. You made a bit of a mistake when you brought me here. This is my strong place. And Rabbit stands up, and as he does, his clothing shifts from the cheap cotton vest and trousers he had been wearing to this elegant tunic made of black spider silk, a cloak spun from the night sky itself. His hair grows long and shining around his shoulders, and in his hand appears a sword that glints with the light of the moon. I've always had a bit more power in places of the imagination, and Rabbit reaches out a mailed hand and grabs the demon by its throat.
Let's make our final trip to the tarot card reading. Cass, the last card drawn is the Devil, representing the seduction of the material world and other earthly pleasures. Continue your reading and then tell Lydia definitively what she must do.
First, a choice. Passion or principle. The established or the rebellion. Violence, damage, pain. But with this pain, a new beginning. A beginning of your choice. But pain accompanies you down either path. The final card, the devil. The shackles you wear are yours by design. It is time to ask yourself, are you truly helpless, or are you stronger than you imagine? Do you have to have one without the other? Are you willing to take everything that is yours? Can you be obsessed with it? Can you take control of it? Lydia, my dear, you can have both if you choose to destroy what your heart does not want.
Mr. John, relying upon your bestial instincts to maneuver this forest and escape the sisters Sandula who are gleefully hunting you. I'd like to hear what this scene is. Ultimately, you will be able to escape the sisters, but I think not without the sisters or the forest taking their trophy.
Mr. John, running from this animal part of himself, has that moment where he realizes the only way he's going to be able to escape is by embracing this. And the beast of the curse is not a prey animal. It does not run. It is a hunter. Also knowing that he is in no state to defeat them, that he is wounded and needs to recover, decides to begin hunting something else, something familiar. He turns his nose toward the sky, and with his eyes closed, begins following a familiar scent. Something a little bit like soot and ash, something a little bit like a memory of his mother's kitchen, and something a little bit like sweet poppy flowers. And when he opens his eyes again, he's on the edge of the woods, and looking up, the sky is no longer twilight, but it is the night sky. And standing on the edge of the path is Rabbit, Morgan Lloyd, wearing a strange dark suit that John's never seen him wear before, but his signature brown waistcoat, and he's holding a sword, and turns over his shoulder toward Mr. John, a third eye open in his forehead, nods at him, and then seems to vanish into the night. Mr. John, realizing now that the sky is dark and he is safe for now, spits on the ground, ain't my first rodeo, and walks, taking an evening constitutional through the streets of London back to Belgrave Square, wearing nothing but the skin on his back.
Mr. John, how are you feeling in this moment?
Hunted. I'm feeling like my past is coming to catch up with me. These sinister sisters are literally hunting me. I know that there are enemies out there, and I'm feeling far from in control of them, and I'm feeling like I have to go back to ground. I'm scared.
Mr. John, take the condition hunted.
Whew, bad night for me.
Mr. John, unseen by you, these two veiled figures break through the tree line and watch your retreating form. They link hands with each other and lean their heads gently against the other and whisper, "Soon, little beastie, very soon." Let's end our night within the wine cellar of Kilburn Abbey. Mr. Lloyd, what does it look like as the demon is expelled from your body?
The bandage having come off at some point as Ina was piercing his arm, you see the tattoo that was there, dark red, in the shape of the face of the young woman. It then stretches and changes and becomes text, which cannot be read by anyone in this room, and then condenses around the very base of the lead rod, and you see something dark seeping up, some combination of blood and ink drawing itself up the side of the rod, pulling itself from the very veins of Rabbit's arms.
So, because you got a mixed success on this night move, I am to give you a complication. The thing that I have in my mind is the notion that while the demon is gone from your body, it has changed you in some fundamental way. I'm wondering if you can help me think about what might be appropriate here.
You know, I liked changing the vice when the demon possessed him, so why don't I come up with a third entirely new vice? And I'll give that to you in a little bit.
That works for me. Miss Thanero, the first step of this ritual has been completed. The demon is out of Mr. Lloyd. It seems as though the monks above you have not yet been alerted to your presence. What is happening now?
Ina reaches for the rod that the demon is kind of circling, and in one fluid movement, pulls it out of Rabbit's arm, slicing through the cord that had him bound, but the girl is still bound, and plunges it into the arm of the corpse of the girl in the same position that it was in Rabbit. And then as she reaches back towards these other lead rods, we notice that there are 4 of them, 5 in total, and they are all carved into tiny lead swords. And she begins to stab them into the other arm, both legs, and then holds the last one up to where the third eye would be in her forehead.
This sounds like this is going to be one final night move to complete this ritual. What are you afraid will happen if you fail?
If we fail, I think this demon, having no real fear necessarily of me from our previous interaction and having already possessed Rabbit, will decide to possess Maisie and everything that would mean. And that would be horrifying.
I think this is a rare moment where I'm going to pass the "it's worse than that" to someone else. Nat, how is that worse than what Miss Thanero fears?
Miss Thanero, it's worse than that.
It's a really good impersonation of Kim.
Thank you. The spirit that you are trying to put back into the girl's body will escape, but it will not possess Maisie. It will kill her, and it will run rampant in London for you to go find.
Lovely. Well done, Natalia. This is going to be a night move with sensitivity. This is the rare time that I will say, Miss Thanero, I believe you have advantage on this.
I do have advantage on it, and I will need it because guess my sensitivity is a big ol' whopping goose egg.
Yeah, the reason why you have advantage on this is because when you were dealing with the possessed Mr. Lloyd in the hedge maze, you rolled a 12 plus on your night move. And when you do so, the keeper will tell you some extra benefit or advantage you receive. And we decided off mic that the benefit that you would receive is that you would take rolls concerning dealing with Rabbit or binding this demon at advantage. So go ahead and make this last roll with advantage, please.
I rolled a 1, a 5, and a 6. So that is an 11.
Let's hear what this looks like.
Ina takes this last lead sword and pushes it slowly into the forehead of this corpse. She then grabs the corpse of the girl and picks her up off the ground. It appears she weighs almost nothing compared to Ina's force. She gently inserts the girl back into the wall. She holds up her left hand. Aegis glows, creating a golden shield over the wall as the bricks that have fallen out start to hem themselves back in around this girl, leaving her face exposed. And Ina whispers one final command to this demon. Ithe canis namin teen, lisi ektos apotin. She pauses, she turns around and looks at Rabbit and looks at Maisie, and then she turns back and makes eye contact with this demon and says, Athena. And the shield stops glowing, her hand dims, and the body and the demon are now encased back in the wall from whence they came.
Maisie drops the Curse of the Deep the minute that's done, sort of takes like a half step, like recovering from the amount that takes out of her, and bends down and offers Rabbit a hand.
Morgan is still completely drained, his shoulders hunched, his head drooped, but he gladly takes Maisie's hand and gets back to his feet. Right, well, won't be doing that again in a hurry. Oh, not what my magic was meant for. And as he glances back towards Miss Thanero, he still instinctively looks away and cannot quite put eyes on her.
Ina notices this and averts her eyes to give Rabbit a small comfort, a respite from having to make eye contact with her, reaches down into the dirt, picks up her gloves and starts to slowly put them back on, a little uncertain as she has revealed who she actually is to these two people in this wine cellar. And she's not making much eye contact with Maisie at this moment either as she's redonning her gloves.
Maisie absolutely hates all of this tension and just goes, right, well, it's a bummer that Mr. John missed all of that. Ina, that was so magical how you did that. Wow, it was really impressive. Yeah, if you ever want to talk about it, happy to listen. Should we get back to the carriage and go home?
Ina has a very small smile on her face, watching Maisie try to smooth the tension in the room. She walks over to Rabbit, and instead of grabbing his arm forcefully like she had in the past, she puts a hand on his back and gently starts to guide him towards the stairs to go back out.
As you all ascend the stairs, you hear that the loud chanting that was above you has fallen silent. Indeed, fell silent the moment that Miss Thanero completed her ritual. All of the candles within Kilburn Abbey are extinguished, and the monks lay unconscious but breathing upon the stone floor of the abbey. They'll wake tomorrow with no memory of what had occurred, probably for the best.
Later that night, just as dawn is beginning to break and the rest of the residents of Hargrave House are settled in their beds, Rabbit opens his window, sneaks out, and finds himself like he has many times in the past several weeks, heading towards Miss Beaumont's.
I think on the way, as the dawn is approaching, Rabbit sees Mr. John, stark naked, walking through London. John watches Rabbit going the other way, mutters to himself, "I'm not about to follow the White Rabbit," and goes to bed.
Well done, everybody! That was a stressful night phase.
That was wild.
So, the first thing that we do in the dawn is collect rewards if we resolved a threat, and we did!
Yay.
So you all get prizes.
Woo, I love that.
All right, so these are going to be items for your personal quarters. I've got 2 special ones and then 2 that are just a memento from the investigation. Ask another hunter what it is and then add it to your personal quarters. The unique ones are a desecrated Bible, add it to your personal quarters, and the corpse that was walled up in the abbey, add it to your personal quarters. It can be used by any hunter for the Demonic Insight custom move, even after it is marked.
So we have to take that in order to get the move.
Yes, because you have to consult the body of the girl.
Just go to the Abbey every time we have a question.
That's why I left her face exposed, because if her face is out, we can just go.
What about like a key to the wine cellar? That's more so like...
I like the idea of the key.
Yeah. So who would like that?
We have to have the Darkened Threshold marked in order to use this Demonic Insight move.
Yes, you do.
I'll take the key to the wine cellar because I have a plan for that mask. And I've been rolling poorly and will probably use it soon.
Fantastic. Can I interest anyone in a desecrated Bible?
I actually want that. I would like that for Ina because I feel like desecrating that particular piece of literature, given her status, she likes that.
All right. Then Miss Douglas and Mr. Lloyd, you each get mementos from the investigation. You must ask someone else what that is, and then as long as you're good with it, add it to your personal quarters.
Mr. John, could you give me a memento, please?
Sure. The moment in this investigation that I was most proud of was waterboarding Brother Elijah. So how about some of that holy water?
Gorgeous, thank you.
All right, Mr. Lloyd, who's defining your PQ item?
I don't have any thoughts, so does anyone have an idea? Anything they want to run with?
Those animal bones sounded right up your alley.
Ooh, yeah, that sounds perfect, actually. I've got a good idea. So, like, a bundle of animal bones.
The next thing we do in the dawn is resolve any moves that are resolved in the dawn. We don't really have any of those this phase. However, Robert, you and I did talk about making a change to your character as a way to mark the demon leaving your body. And you proposed the idea of changing your vice. Have you given that any more thought?
Yeah, I was thinking that Morgan is becoming more in tune or re-in tune with the Fae parts of him. So I think I'm going to go a little mischievous and make the new vice petty theft.
How very tricksy.
It also plays a little in with the demon trying to tempt me into my darker nature.
And especially now that you all have access to demonic insight, there is always a chance it's going to make you commit minor blasphemous acts. So yeah, I think it all ties in very nicely. Go ahead and make that change to your character. Now let's go to our dawn questions. Did the hunters resolve the threat?
Yes.
Heck yeah.
Yes.
Yes, we did.
Most of us did.
3/4.
It counts for me.
Yeah, we all get credit for it, even if you were not there for the resolution.
I wanted to be there.
Did we answer a question?
Yeah.
Yep.
Did we get an echo in the night?
Yes.
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 I think I know what everyone's was, but let's go ahead and say them for the benefit of the listeners. T, what was your echo?
Rabbit in a brown waistcoat with a third eye open, echoing the brown rabbit with the third eye open.
Natalia, what about you?
Magical rabbit.
Cass, what about you?
The lead swords, there were 5 of them to mirror the tarot card from the unseen.
Nice.
And Robert?
I also used the magical rabbit with the third eye open.
I'm so glad that it was of use.
That was a very popular echo. All right, so experience points for everybody. Miss Thinero, did you express a clear preference for the beautiful over the mundane?
I don't believe I did that today.
Did you appear in London society wearing risque or avant-garde fashion?
Well, yes.
Yes, you did. Miss Douglas, did you delight in uncovering lost, forgotten, or ancient magic?
If you want to give me the last little comment I made before we left,
Yeah, I mean, you were kind of like impressed by what Miss Thinero did.
that was my attempt to knock that one out before we left.
Yeah.
But it wasn't as good as I wish it was.
I'll give it to you.
Yay, thank you.
Did you subtly or not so subtly invoke your oceanic heritage or your love for the sea?
Every damn day I do that.
Several times. Yeah, absolutely. Mr. Lloyd, did you have a face-to-face encounter with a dark entity?
I did.
That's kind of all you did today.
I don't know, actually.
A little bit. I'm not sure.
To be fair, it was mostly my face coming to face with other people, but at the very end, I had a
Yeah,
face
the very end
to
when you were in
face.
like your mind palace, you did.
My mind apartment.
Your mind flat.
I have a mind one bedroom.
He's a humble man of humble means.
We're millennials. All we can dream of is a mind one-bedroom apartment.
that we share with a roommate.
I spent too much time dreaming of mind avocado toast.
Oh my god, that's so real and it hurts.
Did you perform a ritual?
I don't know if it counts. Other people performed a ritual which I was a participant in.
Well, you performed one with the possessed monks that were trying to drag you out of the carriage.
That's right. I forgot about that.
You
Yes.
just didn't do it well because no circles.
It was a very hasty, not well done ritual, but yes, I performed a ritual.
Mr. John, did you stick out in London society for all the wrong reasons?
It's a long walk from Kew Gardens.
It sure is buck naked. Yeah, I'll give it to you. Did you share a treasured memory from the States during an intimate moment with another character?
Yeah, I was telling Simon about meeting Andrew Carnegie and a porcupine falling on me.
Does anybody level up?
Me.
I do.
I did.
All right, dears. So you can pick an advancement.
I am going to increase an ability modifier by 1. I'm going to boost my sensitivity.
That makes sense, especially today's activities.
I'm at a 2 now.
I am going to be using my upgrade on getting another move, and I'm going to be taking a beacon in the dark.
One of my favorites. Could you read that, please?
When you walk the streets of London at night, your consciousness spreading across the city like a vast spider web, roll with sensitivity. On a hit, you are immediately confronted by a threat or personified danger related to the threat. You may ask them 2 questions from the list below. They will not answer directly, but rather in the form of a clue. On a 10+, the danger or threat departs as soon as the questions are answered. And the questions are, where is your lair? How can I get you to blank? What do you intend to do? What do you want from blank? And what frightens you?
A really fun investigation move and like so flavorful for the vessel. Cass, what are you thinking, my dear?
I believe I am going to take an ability modifier, and given that I have a great deal of care for Maisie and some complex feelings around Mr. John, I think I'm going to take it in sensitivity.
Everyone's ending up a little bit more supernatural today.
A lot more supernatural in my case.
Yeah, right.
And a little less sane.
Indeed. Well, hunters, this was a difficult night for everyone, but we emerged victorious. Sleep well, because a brand new threat is arriving with the dawn.
Oh God, I always forget.
Shadows in the Smoke is a Kitten Marlowe production. This episode was edited and produced by Kim Dalton and featured a theme song by Jake Pierle. You can find out more about us by visiting kittenmarlowe.com, signing up for our newsletter, or following us on socials. For Discord access, an exclusive behind-the-scenes show, and more, visit patreon.com/kittenmarlowe and join Hex DeWitt and all of our incredible Kitten Marlowe patrons in supporting artist-driven storytelling. Thanks for listening.